They once aided a human. Years later, a legion of warships returned favor. The colony sat on the edge of explored space, a lonely cluster of buildings on a dusty planet with two suns. The settlement had been established decades ago, but life was still hard. Supplies were limited, storms came without warning, and danger lurked beyond the atmosphere. Ethan loved the colony, though. It was small, but it was home. He had grown up here, learning to fix machines, repair ships, and build whatever was needed. His hands were strong, his mind sharp, and his heart was patient. He liked to think that even small things could make a difference. That afternoon, while checking a damaged cargo drone, Ethan noticed something strange on his scanner. A faint signal, irregular and weak, flickered from outside the atmosphere. It was moving slowly, not like a normal ship, and it wasn't human. Ethan frowned. He left the drone and hurried to the observation deck. The sky was a dull orange, dust and clouds swirling in the distance. Through the viewing screen, he saw a small craft floating in the thin atmosphere, barely holding itself together. The ship was strange. Its shape was unlike anything human-made, smooth, curved, and glowing faintly in blue. Smoke trailed from its hull, and small flames flickered near the engine. Ethan's heart beat faster. He had heard stories of alien travelers, but meeting one was different. He knew many colonists would want to destroy it immediately, seeing it as a threat. But something about the ship made him hesitate. The signal it emitted was weak, almost like a call for help. Without thinking twice, he ran to the comm system. "This is Ethan Miller," he said. "I'm going to check that ship. Anyone who wants to stop me can. Well, you'll need to stop me fast." His voice was firm, leaving no room for argument. Ethan grabbed his repair tools, a pack of supplies, and a small energy rifle just in case. He climbed into his small transport vehicle and lifted off. The wind from the atmosphere buffeted the ship, and dust swirled around the landing pads, but Ethan's eyes never left the alien craft. When he landed near the ship, he noticed the markings on its hull. Strange symbols he didn't understand, glowing faintly like they were alive. The ship's hull was scorched and dented, and the engine made soft, irregular noises. Inside, he could see movement, small figures hunched over and trembling. Ethan took a deep breath and approached slowly. "Hello," he called out. "I mean no harm. Can anyone hear me?" The figures inside froze. One of them, taller than the rest, stepped forward. Its skin was smooth, pale blue, and its eyes large and dark. It raised a hand in what Ethan guessed was a sign of greeting. Ethan smiled. "It's okay. I'm here to help. Can you move?" The alien nodded slowly. It spoke, but the sound was strange, like music mixed with static. Ethan couldn't understand it. He glanced at the small device in his pack, a universal translator he had built himself. He activated it, and a soft voice echoed in his ears. "Thank you, human," the device translated. "We are damaged, cannot survive." Ethan's stomach tightened. "I can help," he said. "I don't know how long you've been out here, but we can fix your ship." The taller alien's eyes widened. Ethan felt a strange mix of fear and hope from the creature. It was clear they had never expected mercy from humans. Perhaps most humans would have seen them as invaders or threats, but Ethan's heart told him differently. He moved closer and began examining the hull. He could see the damage was serious. The outer armor plates were scorched, the energy core unstable, and the life support system barely functioning. It would take time, but he had done this before with human ships. He just needed patience and care. The alien, who he later learned was named Leora, stepped aside, allowing him to work. She watched curiously as Ethan adjusted the broken panels, rerouted energy lines, and carefully stabilized the engine core. Her companions whispered among themselves, still cautious, still unsure of this human's intentions. Hours passed. Ethan worked through the afternoon and into the night. The two suns set behind the dusty hills, painting the sky in red and purple. The aliens had begun to trust him a little. They moved closer, offering small tools and helping where they could, though their movements were awkward and hesitant. Finally, the ship's systems began to hum steadily. Lights glowed softly along the hull and the energy core stabilized. Ethan wiped his hands on his overalls and looked at the aliens. They were watching him with awe, and for the first time, he realized the depth of the trust they had placed in him. "You're safe now," Ethan said. "Your ship is fixed, at least enough to move. You can return to your home or wherever you were going." Leora stepped forward. She reached out, touching a panel near Ethan's chest. The translator picked up her words. "You saved us. We do not forget." Ethan smiled. "I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because it was the right thing, that's all." The aliens looked at each other. In their eyes, Ethan could see something he had never seen before: gratitude, respect, and perhaps even a spark of hope. As Ethan finished, the ship's engines roared softly to life. The craft lifted slowly, hovering above the ground. Leora and her crew waved, their movements careful, deliberate. Then, without warning, the ship shot upward, disappearing into the sky, leaving a trail of blue light behind. Ethan watched until the last flicker vanished. His hands were sore, his clothes covered in grease and soot, but his heart was light. He had done something important today, even if no one else in the colony would understand. The next morning, life went back to normal. The other colonists had not seen the alien ship leave, and they were busy with their own work. Ethan smiled quietly to himself. He didn't need recognition. He knew what he had done. A small act of help, a human helping beings from another world. Years later, Ethan would think back to that day often. He would tell his daughter, Maya, stories about the blue-skinned aliens, about Leora, and about how even in the cold reaches of space, kindness mattered. He would never imagine how far that small act would reach. He returned to his work, repairing machines and helping colonists, but a small hope lingered in his heart. Perhaps, somewhere across the stars, those aliens would remember him. Perhaps one day they would return a favor in ways he could not even imagine. For now, he was just a human on a small colony, doing what humans did best: surviving, helping, and believing that even a single person could make a difference in a vast and dangerous universe. And somewhere far away, Leora's eyes glowed softly in her ship, recording the human's name, remembering the human's courage, and keeping it safe for the day when the galaxy would call them to repay a debt that had been written in trust and honor. Ethan didn't know it yet, but a story had begun that would reach across light years. A story of humans, aliens, war, and loyalty. A story that would one day change the galaxy. Years had passed since Ethan Miller had helped the damaged alien ship. The colony had grown slowly, adding a few more buildings, small farms, and repair bays. The humans were tough, used to life on the harsh planet, and they survived with patience and determination. Ethan had grown older, his hair slightly graying at the temples, but his hands were still steady and his mind sharp. His daughter, Maya, was now 12 years old. She had her father's bright eyes and his restless curiosity. Maya loved to explore the colony, climb the small cliffs near the settlement, and study the stars at night. Ethan often watched her from the workshop, smiling as she asked endless questions about machines, ships, and the universe beyond their small planet. One evening, as Ethan worked on repairing a communications satellite, his scanner picked up an unusual signal. It was faint and irregular, much like the one he had seen years ago when he found the alien ship. His heart beat faster. Could it be another ship? Or was it just another anomaly in the quiet space around their planet? He double-checked the readings, tracing the signal across several light years. It was not human, that much was clear. The signal pulsed in a pattern that was almost like a message, though he could not understand it fully. Ethan frowned. He remembered the last time he had seen such a signal, the alien ship that Leora had commanded. Could it be connected? Ethan called Maya over. "Look at this," he said, pointing to the scanner. See that? It's strange. It isn't coming from around here, it's far away, and it doesn't match any human ship. Maya's eyes widened. Do you think could it be them, the aliens you helped? Ethan shook his head. I don't know. It's possible, but I can't be sure. Still, it's interesting. Very few species can send signals this far. Over the next few weeks, the signal grew stronger, moving slowly through space toward the colony. Ethan began recording it and trying to decode it, but the pattern was complex. Maya helped him, asking questions and offering ideas. She had a sharp mind, and Ethan knew that one day she would surpass him in knowledge and skill. Rumors began to spread quietly among the colonists. Some noticed strange objects in the sky, small lights that flickered at night. Others reported ships scanning near the edge of the atmosphere. The older colonists were nervous. They remembered past raids by space pirates and alien raiders. Fear crept into their daily lives. Ethan, however, stayed calm. He did not know the source of the signal, but he did not fear it. Humans had faced danger before, and he knew that careful planning and courage could overcome even the unknown. He also remembered the gratitude in Leora's eyes, the way she had trusted him despite being far from home. Perhaps the aliens were returning, or perhaps they were just observing. Either way, Ethan believed that kindness and courage would guide the next steps. One night, Ethan took Maya outside to watch the stars. The sky was clear, the two suns long set, and the stars shimmered like tiny jewels. "Do you ever think about them?" Maya asked, pointing at the empty sky. "The aliens you helped," Ethan nodded. "All the time. They were different from us, but they trusted me. That is rare in the universe. I wonder if they still remember." Maya looked thoughtful. "Do you think if we help someone else, maybe they'll remember us too?" Ethan smiled. "Possibly. But remember, helping isn't about being remembered. It's about doing the right thing, even when no one sees it." As the weeks passed, the colony received unusual visits. Small scouts from other alien species appeared near the planet, hovering silently, scanning but never attacking. The colonists grew nervous, whispering among themselves. They were not used to such attention. Some wanted to prepare weapons, others wanted to flee. Ethan, however, stayed calm. He understood that fear often caused humans to act rashly, and rash actions could lead to disaster. Meanwhile, Ethan continued to teach Maya about machines, space travel, and the stars. She learned quickly, asking questions about alien technology and the universe. Ethan realized that she had a natural understanding of things he had spent years learning. He felt proud, knowing that the next generation of humans would be even more capable, more daring, and more resourceful. Then, one evening, a transmission arrived through the colony's main communication array. The signal was faint, distorted, but Ethan recognized the structure of the message. It was not human. His heart leapt. Could it be them? Could Leora and her crew be reaching out after all these years? Ethan carefully activated the translator. The message took a few moments to process, then words appeared on the screen. "Human, Ethan Miller, you showed kindness. We remember. Await, danger approaches." Ethan felt a mix of shock and relief. He had not expected this. Years had passed and the universe was vast, yet somehow the aliens had remembered him. He thought of Leora's eyes, her soft glow of trust, and he knew that this was real. He turned to Maya, who was staring at the screen in awe. "Did you see that? They remembered us." Maya's eyes sparkled. "Really? They remembered you?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, and that means we are not alone. We never were. The universe is bigger than we think, and sometimes kindness can create bonds that last across light years." Over the next few days, Ethan prepared the colony. He upgraded the defenses, organized patrols, and made sure the people were ready for any threat. He did not expect trouble, but he knew that preparation was always better than panic. He worked tirelessly, and Maya helped him, her small hands assisting wherever she could. The colonists noticed the changes and began to trust Ethan's judgment. Strange signals continued to arrive, sometimes as warnings, sometimes as messages of observation. Ethan decoded them slowly, learning that the alien civilization had grown aware of threats in the sector. They were gathering forces quietly, preparing to defend against an enemy that could endanger the humans as well. Ethan realized that the galaxy was more dangerous than anyone on his planet had imagined. One night, as he sat under the stars, Ethan thought about the first time he had helped Leora's ship. It had seemed like a small act, almost insignificant. And yet it had grown into something much bigger. Bonds formed in kindness could ripple across time and space, creating effects that no one could predict. Maya sat beside him, looking up at the sky. "Do you think they'll come for us?" she asked quietly. Ethan put a hand on her shoulder. "I don't know, but if they do, we will be ready, and we will not face them alone." He felt a strange comfort in the thought. The humans of the colony were strong, resilient, and resourceful. They had survived storms, attacks, and hardships before, and now, it seemed, they were about to discover that they had allies far beyond the stars. As the night deepened, Ethan and Maya watched the sky. Small streaks of light appeared, moving slowly, just on the edge of visibility. Ethan recognized them as distant scouts, confirming that the aliens were near, keeping watch, and perhaps preparing to return a debt of honor that had been made long ago. The colony slept peacefully, unaware of the great events slowly moving through space. But Ethan knew. He had seen the signals, read the messages, and understood the importance of what was coming. He felt a quiet pride, knowing that a human's act of kindness had started a chain of events that might one day change the fate of his world. In the following weeks, preparations continued. Scouts brought reports of distant fleets gathering, of hostile forces moving through the sector. Ethan worked with engineers and pilots, improving defenses and teaching them to coordinate with precision. Maya absorbed every lesson, often surprising Ethan with her clever solutions and her courage. One day, Ethan received a private message through a secure channel. The message was short, but the meaning was clear. "Help will come. Trust in the bond. Be ready." Ethan smiled. He did not know when or how, but he knew that the aliens were on their way. The humans of his colony had shown courage and resilience, and now they would be tested in ways they had never imagined. As the sun rose over the dusty hills of the colony, Ethan looked at Maya and said, "Someday, you will see that what we do, even the smallest acts, can matter. Across the stars, across time, and to beings we cannot even imagine." Maya nodded, her eyes wide with understanding. "I want to help them too, Father. I want to be brave like you." Ethan felt a warmth in his heart. Humanity was small in the universe, fragile in appearance but strong in spirit. They could face dangers, win trust, and inspire loyalty. And now, it seemed, the universe had noticed. Far beyond the stars, Leora and her crew prepared quietly. They had not forgotten Ethan Miller, the human who had shown them kindness when they were weak and stranded. They spoke of him to their allies, telling the story of the human who had saved their lives without expecting anything in return. And they promised themselves that when the time came, they would repay the debt in full. Ethan and Maya continued their work, unaware of the enormous forces gathering in the darkness of space. But the signs were clear. Humans had earned the attention of the galaxy, not through weapons or numbers, but through courage, ingenuity, and compassion. And soon, the quiet planet on the edge of space would be at the center of events that would test every human and every alien in ways they could never have imagined. The story of trust, courage, and the bonds of honor had begun. Ethan Miller had lit the spark, and the galaxy was starting to notice. The peace of the colony did not last long. One morning, alarms rang across the settlement. Red lights flashed, and a loud siren echoed through the buildings. Ethan Miller dropped his tools and ran toward the observation deck. Maya followed, her small hands gripping the railing. Through the viewing screen, Ethan could see them, a massive fleet of ships, unlike anything humans had built. Dark, jagged, and fast, they moved in formation, clearly organized and dangerous. The ship's engines glowed red, and their weapons shone like bright points of fire. Ethan's heart sank. These were raiders, coming to destroy everything the colony had built. "Ethan," called one of the colonists, "we can't fight them, we're too small." Ethan shook his head. "We have to try. Gather everyone in the shelters and get the defense teams ready. Every person counts." He moved quickly through the colony, checking weapons, organizing defenses, and giving orders. His years of experience told him that humans were at a disadvantage, but they had something stronger than technology or numbers: courage and ingenuity. Maya stayed close, helping wherever she could. She relayed messages, guided people to safe areas, and carried supplies to those who needed them. Despite her age, she showed bravery that matched her father's. The raiders began their attack. Small ships darted in, firing energy beams at the colony's walls. Explosions shook the ground, dust and debris flying into the air. Humans ran for cover, but Ethan and his team fought back. They used every resource they had: drones, energy turrets, improvised weapons, and struck the attackers in ways they did not expect. Ethan shouted orders to the defenders. "Focus on the small fighters. Use the terrain. Remember, they underestimate us." His words had an effect. Humans moved with precision, using traps and tactics that the raiders had not anticipated. Drones dropped from hidden bays, energy pulses deflected incoming beams, and explosives slowed down the enemy. Ethan felt a surge of pride as he watched his people fight with courage. The raiders were surprised. They had expected an easy victory, but humans were not so easily defeated. Ethan noticed that they adjusted their tactics, sending heavier ships to crush the defenses. The colony's walls shook, and some buildings were damaged. Civilians screamed, running for shelters, but the humans held their ground. Amid the chaos, Ethan noticed a scout ship approaching. It was similar to the one he had helped years ago, small and sleek, but heavily armed. He realized it must be a warning or a message from their allies. He activated the colony's long-range communicator and sent a signal, hoping the aliens would respond. Minutes felt like hours. The raiders pressed harder, firing beams and dropping bombs. Ethan dodged debris and guided his team, repairing weapons and barricades while under fire. Maya helped civilians, moving fearlessly through the smoke and chaos. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in the sky. Ethan looked up and saw a small fleet of alien ships emerging from hyperspace. Blue and silver, they moved in perfect formation, weapons ready. He recognized the markings immediately. It was Leora's fleet. She had not forgotten him. She had come, along with her allies, to repay the debt of kindness he had shown years ago. The humans and aliens coordinated quickly. Ethan relayed positions and targets, directing the alien ships to weak points in the raiders' formation. The raiders were taken by surprise. They had not expected reinforcement from outside, and certainly not from the very species they had ignored or mocked. The battle intensified. Energy beams clashed in the sky, explosions rocked the colony, and ships maneuvered with precision. Ethan fought alongside the aliens, using his knowledge of the terrain and the raiders' weaknesses. Maya directed human drones, her voice calm despite the noise and chaos. One raider ship broke through the outer defenses and targeted the main power generator. Ethan saw it just in time. He grabbed a small energy rifle and aimed at the incoming beam. He fired, hitting the ship's engine just enough to slow it down. The ship veered off course and crashed into a distant hill. The aliens moved swiftly, taking out the raiders, heavy ships with coordinated strikes. Ethan watched in awe as Leora commanded her fleet, precise and fearless. The humans fought beside them, showing bravery and ingenuity that impressed the aliens. They were not weak, as many civilizations assumed. They were capable, resourceful, and determined. Hours passed. The raiders were relentless, but the humans and their alien allies held strong. Ethan directed reinforcements, repaired damaged equipment, and inspired his people to continue fighting. The colony was battered, some buildings destroyed, but the spirit of the humans remained unbroken. Maya spotted a group of civilians trapped in a collapsed building. Without hesitation, she ran through smoke and debris, guiding them to safety. Ethan followed, covering her as she led the group. Their teamwork, courage, and determination saved many lives that day. Finally, after a long and exhausting battle, the raiders began to retreat. Their numbers had been diminished, and their confidence shaken by the unexpected resistance. The humans and their allies had shown strength, unity, and courage, and the enemy knew they could not win easily. Ethan stood among the ruins of the colony, breathing heavily. He looked at the sky, where Leora's ships hovered, calm and ready. He felt a deep sense of relief and gratitude. They had survived not just because of the aliens' help, but because humans had fought with heart and courage. Leora's ship landed near the colony and she stepped forward, her blue skin glowing faintly. She approached Ethan, her eyes filled with respect. "You have shown courage beyond your kind," the translator said. "You and your people are worthy allies." Ethan smiled, exhausted but proud. "We did what we had to do. No one can survive alone in the galaxy. We fight, we protect, and we help each other, that's all." The aliens nodded. They helped repair the colony, stabilize damaged equipment, and ensure that the remaining raiders could not return quickly. Humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from each other, sharing knowledge and tactics. It was a moment of unity that would be remembered for generations. As the sun set, painting the sky in red and purple, Ethan walked with Maya through the damaged streets. They saw the destruction, but also the resilience of their people. Families reunited, children laughed despite the fear, and humans worked with aliens to rebuild. "You were amazing," Maya said softly. "You didn't give up even when it looked hopeless." Ethan shook his head. "It wasn't just me. Everyone here fought bravely, and we had help." The galaxy is full of surprises. Sometimes, even the smallest act of kindness can change everything. Maya nodded, her eyes reflecting the lights of the repaired alien ships. She understood now that humans were not weak, as many civilizations assumed. They were strong, capable, and brave. They could face dangers and inspire loyalty across the stars. That night, Ethan and Maya looked up at the sky. Leora's fleet moved silently above, watching over the colony. Ethan felt a quiet pride. Humans had survived, not because of numbers or power alone, but because of courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to help others without expecting anything in return. The battle had been won, but Ethan knew it was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, full of enemies and challenges. Yet, humans had proven they could face even impossible odds. And somewhere far away, the aliens who owed a debt of honor were already preparing for the next steps, ready to repay the trust that Ethan had given them years ago. Ethan's heart swelled with hope. Humanity was small, fragile in appearance, but strong in spirit. They could survive storms, attacks, and the threats of distant galaxies. And now they had allies, friends who would stand with them when danger came. The story of courage, trust, and honor had moved forward. The humans had faced their first real test and had passed. But Ethan knew that the galaxy was watching, learning, and preparing for the next challenge. And when it came, humans would be ready. The bond between species, born of kindness and courage, had grown stronger. It was no longer just a debt or a memory. It was a partnership, a promise, and a reminder that humanity could inspire loyalty and respect across the stars. Ethan looked at Maya and whispered, "This is only the start. One day, the galaxy will know what humans are capable of." Maya smiled, understanding more than her years could hold. She knew that humans were not weak, and she knew that courage, determination, and kindness could change the universe. Together, they would face whatever came next, ready to defend their home, their people, and the bonds that connected them to friends across the stars. The sky above the colony was filled with movement. Ethan Miller stood on the observation deck, scanning the horizon. Months of quiet had been broken by the sudden arrival of the alien fleet. Blue and silver ships hovered in formation, their engines glowing softly, ready for whatever might come. Ethan could feel the weight of history in their presence. These were not strangers. These were friends, allies who had remembered a small act of kindness from years ago. Maya stood beside him, her eyes wide with awe. "Father," she whispered, "look at them, they came back." Ethan nodded. "Yes, Maya, they remembered us, and now they're here to help." The humans of the colony were busy preparing. They repaired damaged turrets, reinforced barriers, and organized the defense teams. Everyone worked together, sharing knowledge and tools, guided by Ethan's calm leadership. The aliens did the same, moving with precision, their ships coordinating as if they had practiced for years. The sky was alive with activity, a mixture of human determination and alien efficiency. Suddenly, the enemy appeared. The raiders, massive in number, advanced from the edge of the system. Ethan's heart pounded. He had seen them before, but this time they were stronger, more organized, and determined to crush the colony once and for all. "Stay calm," Ethan shouted to the human pilots. "We have help. Use the terrain, work together, we can do this." The battle began. Energy beams tore through the sky, exploding against shields and walls. The raiders struck hard, expecting humans to flee, expecting weakness. But humans fought with courage. They adapted quickly, using their small ships to flank the larger enemy vessels, luring them into traps and striking with precision. The alien fleet joined the fight fully. Leora's flagship moved at the center, coordinating attacks and protecting the humans. Her crew used advanced technology, disabling enemy weapons and cutting off supply lines. Ethan watched in amazement as the humans and aliens worked together seamlessly. Maya guided human drones, directing them to key positions. She shouted instructions, her small voice calm amidst the chaos. Ethan followed the raiders' movements, using his knowledge of the terrain and the colony's defenses to predict their attacks. One enemy cruiser advanced toward the colony's main power generator. Ethan realized that if it was destroyed, the colony would fall. He grabbed a communications device and called out to the alien fleet. "Leora, cruiser at 40 degrees, heading for the generator. You need to intercept it." A squadron of blue and silver ships shot forward, their engines leaving streaks of light. The cruiser tried to evade, but the aliens surrounded it, firing with precision. Explosions rocked the enemy ship, and it spiraled out of control before crashing into a distant asteroid. Humans cheered from the ground. Even in the middle of the battle, they found small victories to inspire them. Ethan felt pride swell in his chest. The humans of the colony were showing the galaxy that courage, intelligence, and determination mattered more than numbers. The raiders were relentless. They sent waves of smaller ships, attempting to overwhelm the defenses. Ethan and his team adapted, creating ambushes and using the colony's terrain to their advantage. Drones dropped from hidden positions, energy barriers activated at key points, and explosives slowed the enemy advance. Amid the chaos, Maya spotted civilians trapped near a damaged supply depot. Without hesitation, she ran into the smoke, calling out to them. Ethan followed, using his rifle to cover her. Together, they guided the civilians to safety, moving quickly despite falling debris and explosions. Leora's fleet continued to engage the enemy, striking at critical points. Her voice came through the communicator. "Ethan Miller. Humans fight well. Continue, we are with you." Ethan smiled, exhausted but determined. "Thank you, Leora, we will not fail." The battle raged for hours. The sky was a mix of fire, light, and movement. Humans adapted to every new threat, showing creativity and courage that impressed even the alien commanders. They were not weak, not as many civilizations believed. They were clever, resourceful, and unyielding. Finally, the raiders began to falter. Their attacks became disorganized, their numbers reduced by the combined efforts of humans and aliens. Ethan realized the tide had turned. Humans were not just surviving, they were winning. He directed the final coordinated strike. Alien ships disabled the raiders' weapons while human pilots targeted their engines. Explosions lit up the sky as the enemy ships fell one by one. The colony was battered, but the humans and their allies stood victorious. Ethan walked through the streets of the colony, checking on the people. They were tired, injured, but alive. The aliens moved among them, offering help and sharing knowledge. The humans and aliens worked side by side to repair damaged buildings and restore power. Maya ran to him, her face bright despite the dust and smoke. "We did it, we really did it." Ethan knelt down, putting his arm around her shoulders. "Yes, Maya, we did it together. Humans and aliens side by side. That is how we survive. That is how we win." Leora approached, her presence calm and commanding. "Ethan Miller," she said through the translator, "your courage has inspired your people. You have proven that humans are worthy allies. We are honored to fight alongside you." Ethan nodded, humbled by her words. "It was not just me. Everyone here fought bravely. Humans can be strong when they stand together, and now we have friends who will stand with us too." The aliens helped stabilize the colony further, repairing the most critical structures and ensuring that no enemy ship could return quickly. They shared technology and tactics with the humans, teaching them new ways to defend themselves. Ethan watched as his people learned quickly, adapting alien methods to their own strengths. As night fell, the battle ended. The raiders had retreated, leaving behind a destroyed fleet and a weakened morale. The humans of the colony had survived against overwhelming odds, thanks to their courage, ingenuity, and the timely support of the alien fleet. Ethan and Maya walked among the people, checking on families, helping where they could. Civilians expressed gratitude, relief, and awe at the bravery they had witnessed. Ethan felt proud not for himself, but for the people of the colony. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. Leora gathered her fleet and spoke to Ethan privately. "The galaxy has seen humans fight today. You are no longer just a small colony on the edge of space. You are a symbol. Others will remember, others will respect, and we will be here when needed." Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. The humans had proven themselves, and the bond between species had grown stronger. What had begun as a small act of kindness years ago had blossomed into trust, loyalty, and respect that crossed the stars. The following days were spent repairing and rebuilding. Humans and aliens worked together, learning from each other, sharing knowledge, and preparing for the future. The colony had survived the first real test, but everyone knew it would not be the last. Ethan spent time with Maya, teaching her lessons about courage, strategy, and the importance of compassion. She listened closely, absorbing every detail. He knew she would grow to be even braver, even wiser than he was. The future of humanity, he realized, rested in the hands of the next generation. Far beyond the planet, Leora's fleet moved silently, keeping watch for other threats. She had kept her promise to Ethan Miller. The debt of honor had been repaid, but it was more than that. The bond between humans and aliens had been strengthened through courage and trust. Ethan looked at the sky one last time that evening. Stars shone brightly, and somewhere among them were the ships of friends who had returned to help. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of surprises. Yet humanity had proven that courage, ingenuity, and kindness mattered. Maya stood beside him, looking up. "Do you think we'll have to fight again?" she asked. Ethan smiled. "Maybe. But no matter what comes, humans will stand. We have friends, we have courage, and we have each other. That is enough." The story of humanity's bravery, their ability to inspire loyalty, and their place in the galaxy continued. The bond formed from a single act of kindness had grown into a force that could change the course of events across light years. And the humans of the colony, small and fragile though they seemed, had proven that they could face any challenge. The sky was calm now, but Ethan knew the galaxy was watching, learning, and preparing. And when the next threat came, humans and their allies would be ready. Together they would face it, and together they would survive. The colony had survived. Dust and smoke still hung in the air, and buildings bore the marks of battle, but life had returned. Ethan Miller walked through the streets, watching his people clean, repair, and rebuild. The humans were tired, but their spirit was unbroken. They had faced impossible odds and won, and that victory had changed them. Maya ran ahead, helping a group of children carry supplies to a shelter. Ethan followed, proud of her bravery and intelligence. She had learned so much so quickly, and now she was showing the courage that had defined her father. Humans, he realized, were not just survivors. They were leaders, fighters, and thinkers. The alien fleet lingered above the colony, a silent reminder of trust and honor. Leora's flagship hovered near the center, its engines glowing softly. The aliens moved among the humans, offering help and guidance, sharing knowledge and technology, and ensuring that the colony would be stronger than ever. One morning, as the suns rose over the dusty hills, a message arrived. It was not from the fleet but from a distant council of alien civilizations. The translator activated automatically, and Ethan listened carefully. Ethan Miller, humanity has proven itself. Your courage, ingenuity, and compassion have inspired trust across the stars. We recognize your species as allies and partners in the galaxy. Ethan's heart swelled. The message was simple, but the meaning was immense. Humans were no longer a small, isolated species on the edge of space. They were respected, acknowledged, and valued by civilizations that span light years. Maya ran to him, excitement shining in her eyes. "Father, did you hear that? They said humans are our allies." Ethan knelt down and smiled. "Yes, Maya. Humans are no longer just survivors. We are part of something bigger. We have friends across the galaxy. And we earned it not with weapons or numbers, but with courage, determination, and kindness." The colony began to thrive in ways it never had before. Trade ships arrived from distant systems, bringing supplies, knowledge, and technology. Humans learned new methods of farming, building, and communication. Aliens shared advanced tools and strategies, and humans adapted them with clever improvements. Ethan worked tirelessly, helping integrate the new technology and teaching his people to think creatively. Maya followed closely, learning, experimenting, and asking endless questions. Together, they represented the new generation of humans, brave, clever, and ready for the universe. One afternoon, a celebration was held. The humans and aliens gathered in the main square of the colony. Flags of different civilizations fluttered in the wind, and the people sang songs of survival, courage, and hope. Ethan and Maya stood together, watching as the colony came alive with joy and unity. Leora stepped forward, addressing the crowd through the translator. "Humans have proven that even the smallest acts of kindness can shape the galaxy. You have earned our respect. You are no longer alone. We are your allies, and together we will face the challenges of the universe." The humans cheered. For years they had lived in fear of the unknown, believing themselves weak, isolated, and insignificant. Now they understood their place in the galaxy. They were strong, capable, and respected. Ethan walked among the people, speaking to families, helping children understand the importance of courage and ingenuity. He told them stories of the battles, the aliens, and the bonds formed through trust. He wanted every human to understand that their actions mattered, that they could inspire loyalty and friendship across the stars. Maya listened closely, absorbing every word. She knew that one day she would carry this legacy forward. Humans had proven themselves, and it was up to the next generation to continue building trust, forging alliances and facing challenges with bravery. Over the following weeks, the colony grew stronger. Buildings were repaired with better materials, defenses were upgraded, and communication systems were improved. Humans began to explore neighboring systems, guided by knowledge from their alien allies. They learned to navigate, trade, and communicate across vast distances. Ethan often stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. He thought of the day he had helped Leora's ship, of the small act of kindness that had begun this chain of events. He realized how far-reaching even simple choices could be. A single human's courage had changed the fate of an entire colony and gained respect from civilizations across the galaxy. Maya joined him, her eyes reflecting the glow of distant stars. "Do you think we'll have to fight again, Father?" Ethan smiled. "Maybe. The universe is full of danger, but we are ready. We have courage, ingenuity, and allies. And most importantly, we have each other. That is enough." The humans of the colony began to take pride in themselves. They trained, learned, and explored, knowing that their actions mattered. They were no longer just survivors. They were participants in a larger story, a galaxy that now recognized their value. One day, a small delegation of alien leaders visited the colony. They spoke of future partnerships, trade, and defense agreements. Ethan and Maya listened, learning the ways of diplomacy and strategy. Humans were being treated as equals, their ideas respected, their courage acknowledged. Ethan felt a quiet satisfaction. Humanity had achieved something extraordinary, not through domination or power, but through the qualities that made them human: courage, compassion, and ingenuity. They had earned their place in the galaxy, and the bonds formed through trust would last for generations. Maya walked beside him, holding his hand. "I want to be brave like you, Father. I want to help people and maybe even help aliens too." Ethan nodded. "You will, Maya, and you will do even more than I ever could. Humans are capable of great things." Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting even when you are afraid, and you have that courage already. The colony continued to grow. Children learned about the stars, engineers improved technology, and explorers ventured further into the galaxy. Humans had proven themselves to be capable allies, and the story of Ethan Miller's kindness and courage became a legend among both humans and aliens. Leora and her crew often returned to visit, offering guidance, sharing knowledge, and keeping the bond of friendship alive. The human colony was no longer isolated. It was a hub of learning, trade, and courage, respected by civilizations across light years. Ethan looked at Maya as she helped other children understand the new technology the aliens had shared. He saw in her eyes the same determination and courage he had seen in himself long ago. Humans had earned their place in the galaxy, and the next generation was ready to carry the legacy forward. The suns set over the dusty hills, casting a warm glow across the colony. Ethan and Maya stood together, watching the sky. Blue and silver alien ships moved quietly above, a reminder that friendship, trust, and courage could transcend worlds. Ethan felt a deep sense of peace. Humanity had survived, adapted, and earned respect. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious, not because of numbers or technology, but because of their spirit. Courage, ingenuity, and kindness had guided them. Maya squeezed his hand. "Do you think the galaxy will remember us, Father?" Ethan smiled. "Yes, Maya. They will remember. Humans may be small, but we are strong. We inspire trust, loyalty, and respect, and that is how we survive and thrive in this vast universe." The story of the human colony, their courage, and their bond with aliens became known across the stars. It was a story of survival, ingenuity, and honor, a story of how even small acts of kindness could change the fate of worlds. Ethan knew that challenges would come again, that the galaxy was full of dangers, but he also knew that humans were ready. They had courage, allies, and a determination that no enemy could break. Maya looked up at the stars, dreaming of adventures yet to come. Ethan looked beside her and smiled. Together, they represented the best of humanity, brave, compassionate, and ready to face the unknown. And somewhere far away, Leora and her allies watched, remembering the human who had once helped them when they were weak. They had returned the favor, yes, but they had also seen what humans could do. They had seen courage, ingenuity, and honor. And they knew that humans would continue to surprise the galaxy. The colony thrived. Humans explored new systems, and alliances grew stronger. The debt of kindness had been repaid, but the legacy it created would last for generations. Ethan and Maya knew that the future of humanity was bright, and that one human's courage could inspire many across the stars. The story ended not with war or victory, but with respect, unity, and hope. Humans had proven themselves worthy of a place in the galaxy. They were no longer just survivors on a small planet. They were allies, leaders, and examples of courage in a vast and challenging universe. Ethan looked at Maya one last time that evening. Remember this, Maya. Courage, kindness, and ingenuity can change the universe. Never forget that. Maya nodded, understanding fully. I won't, Father, I'll keep it alive. And so humanity stood proud, their place in the galaxy earned through heart, spirit, and the actions of those brave enough to care. The universe had noticed, and it would never forget the humans who proved that courage and compassion could shine even among the stars.